Hello everyone and welcome to another beer review. Today we're going to do a sister review of a beer that we've done previously. Now the beer that we did previously was a golden ale. It was done by Waitrose and it was a Duchy range, which I've now realised is their organic range. So apparently if it says Duchy then it's all organic and wholesome and good for you. Although by saying it organic, what's that saying about other brewers? What maybe they're using as their ingredients. And as the ingredient being used by the Waitrose Duchy range any better. Now, both beers that are under the Duchy kind of banner for Waitrose are actually brewed in Oxford by the Wishwood brewery. The same brewery that makes Hobgoblin. So, let's see what it's like. This is it here. Now, there is some tasting notes. It's 5.2%. It's the same price. Both beers are the same price as of kind of February, March, April. They're all £2.10 for a bottle, which compared to some of the beers around about this area sold by Waitrose, it's one of the most expensive ones. Right, so they're saying yes, it's brewed in Oxfordshire. It's a full flavoured, well hopped ale with a delicate citrus aroma, brewed to an exclusive recipe using British sovereign hops. So that's really it. There isn't kind of anything more that's really kind of on the bottle, really. It just said, yeah, 5.2%, and it's just kind of repeating what's on the kind of website. And this, exactly that. So, shall we crack on and see what it's like? The thing is, if you go back and look at the Duchy Golden Ale, wasn't that impressed with it for the price they were asking, and some of the other beers I'd bought at the same time. And the same with this one, I bought some really kind of interesting beers from Waitrose, from the kind of local Devon, Cornwall and kind of southwest England area. This, it's hopefully better than the Golden Ale, because I just felt that the Golden Ale was lacking, severely lacking. It promises a lot in the label and everything else, but just didn't deliver. Hopefully this will deliver. Now apparently it's supposed to be an exclusive recipe, so let's find out. Let's crack it open. Okay, do well with this. There we go. Good. Now, 5.2%. It's not too bad, I suppose, for an IPA. An IPA is basically an India Pale Ale, and historically it's actually quite a high alcohol content, usually kicking in around about 6.5%. Usually over 5.5%. This is 5.2%, so it's a bit low, but there is ones I've seen IPAs at 4% and 4.5% and 4.6%. You're thinking, I think you're pushing it, calling it an IPA really, because the alcohol content is part of the flavour profile, and it's going to be a robust body for it to kind of cope with that type of alcohol content. So when it's lower alcohol content, calling it an IPA, I think, well, you're stretching the truth a bit. So but we find that a lot now with craft beer, because they all have craft beer. Yeah, and they all give titles to things, and the problem is, oh yes, it's going to be this and it's going to be that, and you're thinking, yeah, bollocks. So anyway, let's see how it pours. Good head on it. It's pouring nice. I'm going to sweep the top of the bottle. Right, let's see. There's a delicate malty flavour, or aroma, flavour, Anyway. Kind of citrusy notes. But no, it's just a kind of a malty beer smell, but not a very strong smelling beer at all. Funny enough, a bit like the Golden Ale. It didn't smell of much. But anyway, let's get chucked in. Slightly carbonated. And you can see there is carbonation passing up through the glass. If you can maybe see that on the camera. But it's a delicate carbonation. It is very light in the mouth. And usually it kind of helps to kind of transport the flavours around about the mouth to the different areas of the mouth, and the carbonation just helps to kind of with that kind of transfer, but this is quite light. It's malty. It's hoppy. The malt is a delicate malt, a bit like a kind of a like biscuit, a kind of digestive kind of malt, but a very light digestive, not a dark. There's no caramel notes with that. Citrus, struggling to taste citrus. So I don't know where they're getting citrus from. They've been sucking lemons before they've even tasted it, but hey, it seems to be a byword to say citrus, and oh, everybody loves it. Everybody in the craft beer community will be creaming their panties over that one. Oh, it's citrusy. Oh, yeah, get over it. Jesus. Anyway, there's no kind of, there's a light kind of caramel, kind of, what would we call it? Kind of fudge, kind of creaminess to it. It's actually quite nice. It's got quite a nice aftertaste. It's no bitter aftertaste, it's a kind of a mute sweetness aftertaste with just a little hoppy tone just coming up from it. So you goes down the back of the throat, just in the back of the mouth, you're getting this kind of light, very light, delicate, sweet aftertaste, and then the hops come on top of it that just kind of add a little bit of bitterness to it. So it's actually quite nice. It is very delicate, it's not strong of flavour at all. It's a delicate flavour, which isn't a bad thing. But I would say the aftertaste is actually quite strong compared to the overall flavour. I mean, it is quite delicate as an overall flavour, but it's got quite a punchy, strong, identifiable kind of aftertaste, which is good. So it basically means it's not really giving so much in the front of the tongue or the kind of middle of the tongue, but it's giving plenty at the back of the tongue. I actually quite like this. It's kind of addicted to that kind of sweetness, and then the hops kind of taking over in the back of the mouth. And that's actually really quite nice. Actually, there's a kind of a slight fudginess, kind of sweetness to it. It's a lot better than the Golden Ale. Definitely, I would say it's a lot better than the Golden Ale. And yeah, that's a better beer. It could probably be, well, let's be honest, it could and should be a higher alcohol content. I mean, 5.2, it's okay. I would say that's really kind of borderline. It can't really be any lower than that. It would have been better if it was over 5.5, but anyway, definitely getting closer to the actual proper kind of 6 plus percentage. That real traditional IPA should be. But saying that, it is an interesting beer. It is delicate, but it's got a really kind of quite an addictive aftertaste. Well, for me it is. I actually quite enjoy that aftertaste. It would definitely be something that I'd want to keep drinking because of that, because it is a very, very pleasant aftertaste. And once it completely dispels in the mouth, you want more. It's quite addictive in some ways, so that's a good thing. Yeah, I would definitely say the finish of it is far superior to the start of it. When it first hits the mouth, it's nothing great. Seriously, it's nothing great, but it builds in the mouth. And yes, the aftertaste is far, far better, far stronger, far more interesting, and makes it more distinct. Would I buy it again? Yeah, I would. Would I prefer it to be a bit cheaper? Yeah, I probably would. From the point of view is, I would give it two options. Either keep it at the same price and up the alcohol content to a more traditional, closer to the 6% for an IPA, or you keep the alcohol content the same as it is at 5.2 and you drop the price by at least 20 pence anyway. Get it below the £2 mark, and yeah, I would say it would be a better kind of priced beer. But saying that though, would I buy it again? Yes. Would I share it with friends? Probably not. I think I'll keep that for my own kind of personal enjoyment, I would say. But yeah, out of 5, what would I give it? I would give it probably, I'd actually maybe give it, I would give it a 3 if the alcohol content was higher and to a more kind of traditional thing. That would maybe obviously change the effect of the beer and how it tastes and everything else, but the way it tastes just now, and by calling an IPA at 5.2, I think you really are kind of getting to the bottom kind of realms of kind of believability. But yeah, I would probably give it a 2.7, 2.8. Yeah, roughly about 2.7 I would probably say I would give it. It's actually not a bad beer at all. There are some things that they're doing and missing the point of an IPA, just like lots of companies are doing the same, but they call themselves craft beers, and that seems to be an excuse. So it's a case of we made a traditional beer, but we haven't done it the traditional way, and we're not actually keeping the kind of traditions alive. But when we put craft beer in front of it, that's okay. That's your get out clause. Craft beer. Oh, and just to make sure, we'll add citrus into some of the tasting notes, so people will buy because, hey, but to keep these craft people alive. A traditional IPA is not 5.2. It's got to be 6% plus. That's tradition. You're making a traditional IPA? No, you're making a craft bollocks IPA. So, 2.7 for a craft bollocks IPA. That's organic. There you go, ticking all the boxes. Diversity in a glass. Surprised not sponsored by the BBC. But yeah, the India Pale Ale. Yeah, my view is, if you can try it, go and try it. I think you'd be quite surprised, and also be interesting to see if you would agree with what my findings are. And if you do get a chance to taste it, and you do follow this channel, then put your kind of findings in the comments below. It'll be interesting to see what you can see and feel about this beer. But anyway, I think that's us for tonight. It's a far better beer than the Golden Ale. The Golden Ale was just very bland. There was no real kind of distinctive flavour. I was very, very disappointed. This is better. There is ways I would probably hope they would have improved it and maybe make it a bit better by higher alcohol content and everything else, but overall It doesn't taste like a traditional IPA, but it does have some nice tasty notes, and especially at the finish. It's got a good strong finish. Not the best start, mediocre in the middle, but a good strong finish with the flavour profiles. So that's us for this evening. Thanks for watching, and bye for now. Cheers.